Marxist ideology has been infecting our schools, our businesses, and our armed forces. Now, I don't mean overtly Marxism, but it's critical theory. It's racial identitarianism, and it is rooted in Marxist thought. We have this Space Force commanding officer who got relieved of duty after he pointed this out. Um, and he's basically just saying not enough people are pushing back against this partisanism. Uh, so yeah, uh, Space Force commanding officer fired, but fortunately, his book went to like #1 on Amazon. I think that's pretty nice. He's not completely not completely ruined by this. Anyways, commander of a U.S. Space Force unit tasked with detecting ballistic missile launches has been fired for comments made during a podcast promoting his new book, which claims Marxist ideologies are becoming prevalent in the United States military. Lieutenant Colonel Matthew Lohmeyer, commander of 11th Space Warning Squadron at Buckley Air Force Base, Colorado, was relieved from his post Friday by Lieutenant General Stephen Whiting, the head of Space Operations Command, over a loss of confidence in his ability to lead, Military.com has exclusively learned. Well, he got fired for pointing out this thing that he's noticing. Doesn't that make you think it's inherently because of that? I mean, because our military is being infiltrated. I mean, it's infected by Marxism. It's weird. And the people at the top, the commanding officers and people pushing this. I don't think I mean, I think they're very cowardly, or maybe they're just outwardly supporting it, overtly supporting it. Yeah. Um, so this decision was based on public comments made by Lieutenant Colonel Lohmeyer in a recent podcast. By the way, Stephen Whiting, coward. A Space Force spokesperson said in an email, Lieutenant General Whiting has initiated a command-directed investigation on whether these comments constituted prohibited partisan political activity. He was just noting how the military is becoming partisan political. Partisan... politically partisan. Yeah, that's what I mean. Lohmeyer's temporary assignment in the wake of his removal was not immediately clear. I mean, it seems pretty cut and dry. He got fired by Marxist ideology for noting the Marxist ideology. Earlier this month, Lohmeyer, a former instructor and fighter pilot who transferred into the Space Force, self-published a book titled Irresistible Revolution, Marxism Goal of Conquest and the Unmaking of the American Military. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm getting this from military.com. They're pretty cut and dry. They just give us the facts. It has a 100 out of 100 on NewsGuard. And let's see what the media is saying about him. Space Force commander with penchant for conspiracy theories fired. Obviously, that's an opinion. Irresistible Revolution is a timely and bold contribution from an active-duty Space Force lieutenant colonel who sees the impact of a neo-Marxist agenda at the ground level within our armed forces. A description of the book reads, Lohmeyer sat down last week with L. Todd Wood of the podcast Information Operation, hosted by Creative Destruction or CD Media, to promote the book. He spoke about U.S. institutions, including universities, media, and federal agencies, including the military, that he said are increasingly adopting leftist practices. These practices, such as diversity and inclusion training, are the systemic cause for the divisive climate across America today, he said. Well, I mean, it's kind of illegal what they're doing. They're telling you that a certain race of people are bad. White people. Yeah. From his perspective as a commander, Lohmeyer said he didn't seek to criticize any particular senior leader or publicly identify troops within the book. Rather, he said he focused on the policies service members now have to adhere to align with certain agendas that are now affecting our culture, quote, that are now affecting our culture, unquote. Yeah. So basically, it's becoming you either align with them or you're out. And we need more people to stand up and speak out against this. Regarding Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, he said, "I don't demonize the man, but I want to make it clear to both him and every service member that this diversity and inclusion agenda, it will divide us, it will not unify us." That is 100% true. It's an identitarian agenda. Basically, that points out the skin color of people. Austin on February 5th ordered all military services to observe one-day stand-down on extremism in the ranks. As part of his stand-down, Lohmeyer said he was given a booklet that cited the January 6th riot at the Capitol as an example of extremism, but did not mention the civil disobedience and destruction of property that took place following the death of George Floyd. Yeah, it's been so long since that day. It's kind of appalling. They're still talking about it and not shedding light on all of this other stuff that happened that they should be talking about. The point remains. He also took issue with the Pentagon spokesperson seeming to allude to Press Secretary John Kirby. Lohmeyer claimed Kirby said there are, quote, "there are too many white pilots," unquote, amid an ever-increasing pilot shortage. If you want to provide that kind of messaging to your already struggling pilot force, you can already expect to see further retention problems, he said. Well, yeah. It's terrible. I don't understand how they think this is going to fix their retention problems. Telling what pilots there are that they are bad because of the color of their skin. Don't you think that would make them want to leave? In a statement Friday, Kirby denied ever saying such a thing about a surplus of white pilots and pointed to Austin's comments made last week during his first press conference about the importance of increased diversity programs. Well, yeah, of course he would deny it. It sounds very bad. This department has, quote, "This department has an open door to any qualified American who wants to serve," unquote, the defense secretary said May 6th. Quote, "Diversity throughout the force is a source of strength. We can't afford to deprive ourselves of the talents and the voices of the full range of a nation that we defend." Yeah, and of course, Lohmeyer has gone through all the legal hoops in order to make his publishment. Of course, in the armed forces, they've got rules about what you can or can't do as far as publishing things when it comes to your service. Lohmeyer told military.com he consulted with his base public affairs and legal counsel about his plans to publish a book and its contents. "I was apprised of the option to have my book reviewed at the Pentagon's pre-publication and security review prior to release, but was also informed that it was not required," Lohmeyer said in an email. My intent never has been to engage in partisan politics. I've written a book about a particular political ideology, Marxism, in the hope that our Defense Department might return to being politically nonpartisan in the future, as it has honorably done throughout history, he said. Yeah, it's pretty much at the top of Amazon's military policy section. It's pretty awesome. I'm glad he's not completely outed from this. This goes on to talk about his history. All right, we don't have a voice anymore. While a major, Lohmeyer attended the Air Command and Staff College, where he published The Better Mind of Space, The paper explores the U.S. military's role in space beyond geosynchronous Earth orbit. In the Information Operation podcast, Lohmeyer said his fascination with Marxism began after that, when he was pursuing his second master's degree in philosophy and military strategy at Air University's School of Advanced Air and Space Studies. All my interactions with senior leaders in the Air Force and in the Space Force have been very positive. They care a great deal about their people and the lethality of the force, Lohmeyer said during the 34-minute interview. However, leaders may be afraid that if they don't get on board with diversity training, they will face scrutiny or might not get promoted, he said, adding that liberal ideas are welcomed, whereas ideas from more conservative voices are criticized or silenced. This behavior is absolutely cowardly, I might add. It's just that they have to, they feel that they have to lick the boots of these leftist ideologues or be canceled. That's absolutely terrible. And I don't like it. I wish people would stand up for their individual rights more. And I'm glad that this guy is speaking out about it. Too bad he's already canceled. Canceled from the military. Lohmeyer advised any new service member from enlisted to officer to reject critical race theory if they see it being taught in the ranks, because it too is a form of extremism by the definitions outlined in DoD Instruction 1325.06, handling dissident and protest activities among members of the armed forces. Golby, an Army veteran, said Lohmeyer's advice to the junior ranks potentially undermines good order and discipline, or DoD policies aimed toward diversity and inclusion, or maybe both, he said. Yeah. And about that, they are technically doing something illegal. It's very politically partisan and rather racist, I would add. Yeah. Not a fun time. Anyways, I think I'm going to call it short on here. If you'd like to see more of this, you can subscribe to my channel, click the bell, like this video. I'm going to try and increase my frequency of publications, maybe on a daily basis. Right now it seems to be on a weekly basis, but we'll see. Thanks for watching.